Good morning, everyone. I am Lizzie Taylor, the Director of Programs with FCICA. I will be moderating today's webinar. This program is being recorded, so to maintain the integrity of the recording, all attendees will be muted. If you need to get in contact with Spencer to ask a question, like Billy said, go ahead and use that Q&A panel. And if you are having any technical difficulties, you can go ahead and chat to us, and either Billy or I will help you out. The recorded session will be housed on the FCICA Member Center YouTube channel and on this education portal. We do have some great things happening. So we just published our most recent edition of the Flooring Contractor, and this was very SIM focused. You know, the certified installation managers wrote several of the articles. We really tried to focus in on commercial flooring management. There's a lot of great articles in this issue, so I highly recommend you check it out. You can get to it on our website. You go to the resources tab, and it's right underneath that. And if you have any questions about it, you can go ahead and reach out to me, and I can send you a direct link, or give you any information about publishing an article or getting a copy of the magazine digitally. This is an online magazine only, but I can send you a PDF if you'd like. Okay, so definitely check this out. We're very proud of this issue. We do have another webinar coming up next week. This will be the first month where we have our 2 product webinars, and this will continue for the rest of the year, the rest of the membership year through next June. It may continue after that, but this is a trial run for doing 2 product webinars a month. So we have Sponge Cushion presenting their Treadmore product next week, and it will be on Wednesday at 1 p.m. So we're going to try out a different day, different time, let some other people try and get online. Maybe Thursday doesn't work great for them. Okay, so this will be happening. You can register now. It's up on our website. You can get to it from the webinar tab. You can get to it from the platform right here. Many other ways. You can call the office. Just make sure you're checking out all of our opportunities. So this one's coming up. And for our certified installation managers, remember that this and all FCICA webinars are credited towards your continuing education requirements for your SIM renewal. You can visit the SIM page on the website for renewal details and the online credit submission form. We do not need the online credit submission form for FCICA webinars. With this updated portal, we will now automatically get those credits as soon as you've finished the webinar. You may be asked to complete a survey, but that's all you have to do, and you'll get your credit. So that's great. If you are completing external industry trainings, that's when we'll need that online submission form. So if you go and complete, for example, a Laticrete training, maybe you visit their facility or a dealership hosts something about their product that you could submit for credit, and you would need to turn in that credit submission form. So that's on our website as well. Okay, at this time, we're going to move on. Any views and opinions expressed in this webinar are those of the presenter and do not necessarily reflect any official views or positions of FCICA. At this time, I'm going to just have a brief pause. I'm going to initiate the recording, and we'll get going. Welcome to the FCICA Product Webinar Series. We are pleased to have Spencer with Laticrete International with us today to talk about Strata Heat. Spencer, the floor is yours.
All right. Thanks, Billy and Lizzie, for the introduction, and thanks to all of you for joining me today to hear about our awesome radiant floor heating system called Strata Heat. All right, getting the slides to work here. Cool. First, I'll tell you what I'm going to tell you. First, we'll cover a bit about the current state of the market and the high-level benefits of radiant heat before I get into the next section, which I'll cover the product details specific to our system. Then I'll cover all the commercialization support which was developed for us, including all the marketing tools, technical resource stuff, and promotional support. Okay, so before I get into more detail and specifics on our system, I'd like to give you an overview of the radiant floor heating system from a high level. With traditional systems like forced air heating, most people have come to accept that home heating has to be ugly, noisy, or dusty, but it really doesn't. The Strata Heat radiant floor heating system is invisible, with all of its components installed out of view beneath the floor. And in the absence of blowers or rushing air, the operation is completely silent, which is cool. Also, being a ductless system, which is not pushing air around the space, people with allergies, or if they're just concerned about indoor air quality, the radiant floor heating system is really the best option. So who uses and installs this type of system? The market is primarily residential at this point. So condos and apartments, these systems are going into single or multifamily homes, new construction, and they're very popular in remodels as well, especially with home additions. Where extending the conventional heating system that's already in place in the house may be impractical, expensive, or you just want something cool in your new space. A lot of people are leaning towards putting radiant floor heating systems in. As far as the flooring itself, tile is the most common and effective floor covering for the radiant floor heating system because it conducts heat really well and it adds thermal storage. So it traps that heat. Which is good. Common floor coverings, other ones like vinyl and linoleum sheet goods, for instance, or carpeting or wood, they can also be used and they're perfectly fine. But these surfaces are a little less conductive than tile, so they'll ultimately decrease the efficiency of the whole system. Also, I want to mention that with the elimination of radiators, vents, or baseboard registers, as physical and aesthetic challenges within your space, you don't have to design the home around the requirements of the heating system or be restricted on where you place furniture once it's built. So you don't have to worry about putting, a couch or something or a stand or a shelf in front of a radiator. It's not going to be there. This is completely seamless and invisible, so it's great. And also, the system is really effortless to run. Once it's installed, the underfloor heating and the radiant floor heating system of Strata Heat needs virtually no maintenance, and it can really last a lifetime. So there's a lot of great benefits to it. So now I wanted to give everyone just a little bit of an overview of the current distribution and construction segmentation to give you an understanding in a little bit more detail where the systems are sold and for what they're going to. As I mentioned before, they're primary residential, so you'll see probably an 80-20 split of consumption of these systems between residential and non-residential construction. And where you buy these systems, traditional tile and stone distribution still dominates, and electrical follows that, and then flooring type distribution channels. So about 2/3 of the business is in tile and stone and electrical at this point, as far as distribution goes. Okay. One of the things that I like to highlight in talking about our system and and versus the other types of in-floor radiant floor heating system is really all of the things that all of the attributes that you can use to evaluate a system versus other options. So we basically wanted to compare the integrated mesh electric radiant floor heat, which you'll find in the marketplace today, loose wire electric radiant floor heat, which you basically, and there's some images down the bottom of each of these systems, which basically you have spacing strips on the floor and you're putting wire in those strips, and it's kind of loose there. And then you have hydronic floor heat, which we're all familiar with, which is you're pumping hot water through tubes. And then you have our system, the Strata Heat system, which is really, it's a loose wire with an uncoupling mat included. And you'll see a couple images there on the far right. And if you evaluate these systems on the ability to customize them, how easy it is to install them, the cost of installation, any limitations or constraints that there may be in the installation itself, or the ability to multifunction. And what I mean by multifunction is that the loose wire and uncoupling mat method also covers decoupling. It's not just a mat to hold the wire, but it's also a decoupling mat, which in a lot of cases you probably need to have under your tile installation anyways. So we're really kind of killing two birds with one stone here. And so we have a multifunction option. None of the other ones that are there give you that decoupling option to help protect your floor covering from anything that's going on in the substrate. So when you compare all these different options of radiant floor heat and in-floor heating across the range of all these different attributes, we feel, and everybody else does, that we have really the strongest system across the board. It's very easy to customize. It's very easy to install. It's relatively low cost. There's very few limitations or constraints. And again, like I said before, it does act as a decoupling mat. Okay. So now a little bit more specifically on the performance of our Laticrete Strata Heat system. As I review the details of our system, it's important to know the perceived negatives on radiant floor heat, which are really mostly efficiency and response are a couple of the things that you hear. So when we talk efficiency, it's really, you know, how much electricity does it take to give you the desired effect. And as far as the response goes, it's once I turn the system on, I want it heated up, how quickly does it get to my target temperature? So a lot of the features that we've built into Strata Heat address both of these knocks, and we've made a lot more unique and valuable improvements as well. We do have the most complete and highest performance radiant floor system in the market today, and you'll see that in the coming slides. So the system is comprised of 4 core components: the Strata Heat mat, the wire, the thermal pack, and the thermostat. These all work together as a system, and now we'll go through each one of these in a little bit more detail. So first, we'll talk about the mat. It is patent pending. It's very high performance, and as I mentioned before, it is a multifunction mat. It both holds the wire in place where you want it to be, and it is a decoupling mat. So it's an uncoupling membrane. It features patent pending mortar hydration vents, which accelerate the curing of the thin set. So these are vents that allow the moisture to come to the thin set up through the mat, and it allows the thin set to cure much more quickly so that you're ready to tile and work on it and walk on it a lot faster. The design of the mat and the embossed features on there that hold the wire in place, they're designed to have minimal contact with the wire, just enough to hold it in place very securely, but not enough to prevent the wire from coming in contact with as much thin set as possible. It's important that the wire has maximum contact with thin set in order for the heat to diffuse from the wire through the thin set to your floor. So it gives you a faster heat up time, ultimately, the way the mat is designed. The wire installs easily in the mat. You can push it down with your thumb. It lays very flat and secure in the mat, which is important as well. And the mat itself lays flat as well. The mat is available in sheets, but it's also available in rolls. So as you can imagine, when things are coming on rolls, they tend to have memory and can kind of curl up on you. That's not going to be an issue here for installers. There's little to no memory as it comes off the roll, so it's going to lay flat and help that installation go along a lot smoother. Another thing that our mat features is a visual mortar coverage verification. So really that's kind of a fancy word for our mat is more translucent or opaque than others. So other of our competitors will tend to have solid color mats, and what that does is that kind of hides what's going on underneath the mat as you're trying to stick it down to thin set. So we have a more translucent opaque mat, which allows you to kind of see through the top of the mat where you have coverage and where you don't when you're spreading thin sets. So that's really important as you're doing the installation to have peace of mind that you have enough coverage underneath your mat and everything is going to be secure. So you have the best bond to the substrate possible. One of the things I'd like to add in this slide here to the mat portion of it, and when you're laying down the initial components of Strata Heat, is one of the things that we've found, which isn't officially part of the Strata Heat system, but one of the things that we've found is that including a thermal break over your substrate underneath the thin-setted mat is a really effective way to redirect any heat that you would lose downward in the system back upward. So what we actually recommend is another product within our line called a Hydraband board. This is a waterproof, tile-ready board that actually has a really thick membrane on it, and we found that when you take a 1/4-inch piece of this board, which comes in 3x5 or 4x8 sheets, and you put it underneath the Strata Heat system, it helps deflect a lot of that heat upward, back up through the system, so you don't lose it down through your substrate. This is particularly important when you're over a highly conductive concrete slab, for instance, where a lot of the heat will be sent downward and captured in the slab. You need to have a thermal break there in order to make sure that that heat gets redirected upwards into the floor and maximizes the efficiency of the system. So I didn't include it in this presentation, but it's a really nice way to make the system perform even better. So moving on now from the mat over to the wire. The Strata Heat wire features the highest quality and most heavy-duty construction for really exceptional performance and durability. It's offered in both 120 and 240-volt versions with cable length options ranging from 17 to 830 feet in spools. It's UL approved, so with the different lengths that are available and the different voltage options, it really provides you with the most design flexibility for your installation based on the square footage that you have. There's no minimum on a straight run length. So what does that mean is that with competitors' wires, there's not enough resistance built up in the wire in the way it's constructed. So when you lay it down, every 10 feet or so, linear 10 feet, you actually have to put a right angle in it and redirect it off its path and then bring it back on its path to create resistance within the wire. Our braided wire design has the resistance built in it, so there's no minimum on a straight run length. You can keep this going forever, and the resistance is going to be enough in the wire to make it perform effectively. It's a highly conductive copper wiring, which provides maximum heat transfer. As I said before, it's UL approved. Our wire is so high quality and it works so well and it's so efficient, it can actually be used as a primary heating source for your space. So it's not just for the comfort on your feet and to make the floor warm, but you can actually use it. It's efficient and effective enough to actually use it as a primary heating source for your space. So if you space your wire every third row within the Strata Heat mat, and as close as every 2 to 3 rows interval kind of spacing, you can use it as primary heating. So you don't need to have another heating source in your area, forced air or anything else. You can actually use this wire in our system as your primary heating source. So very few others can say that about their wire, and it's something that we're proud of, and it's fully UL approved for all those applications. So now we'll talk about some of the really unique things that we have. So we have a couple of thermostats that are available. We have a traditional programmable, standard programmable one that everybody has, but we also have a Wi-Fi compatible with, which some other competitors have. But we have a really cool option that's got some patented features in it as well. It has a user-friendly setup and a very intuitive interface, so it makes the setup and operation very easy. You can control it. The Wi-Fi version you can control via smartphone and the Strata Heat app, and it gives you real-time information that allows you to control the system optimally for whatever you need it to do. So if you're away from the house, you can control it through your phone, and you can turn it down if you know you're not going to be there. Or if you're in the house and you're just not by the thermostat, you can pull up the app and control it from there whenever you want. The thermostats are smart thermostats, and what that means is that they learn the response time of your room. So they based on the dynamics in your substrate and the dynamics on your floor covering and everything in between, it knows after a couple of weeks, it will learn that in order to get the room to raise 10 degrees in temperature, it has to be on for this long. And it will start learning those routines, and then when you set your program in your thermostat saying that, hey, for instance, I want my bathroom floor at 6 a.m. and my bathroom area to be at 70 degrees, it will know how early it needs to turn on at full power in order to get the bathroom floor there to 70 degrees, and it won't turn on earlier. What that means is it's going to save cost over time. So rather than having a standardized, hey, it turns on an hour before you want your target temperature, the reality is that, if it wasn't a smart thermostat, it could get you up to temperature very quickly, and then it would have to maintain that for the remainder of the time towards the target time that you actually wanted it there, and you're spending more on electricity and energy. So another really unique feature that we have with this is it has a geolocation feature, which is patented. Nobody else can have this. So what that means is that since your phone is connected to the system knows not where you are, but it knows how far you are away from the system. So if you drive away from your home with your connected phone, and the further away you get, it basically knows how long it would take you to get back, and it will cool down your system and your floor accordingly with this geolocation feature. So it doesn't know where you are necessarily, but it does know how far away from the home you are, and it'll take you down to your lower end settings of where you want the floor and your space to be from a temperature standpoint, which can help save on energy costs a lot as well. And it is home automation hub compatible. So you can, integrate this into your Google Home or any other home automation hubs that there are in the marketplace today, and it can be an integral part of that. So more unique features that we have here. So this is our thermal pack, the Strata Heat thermal pack. So this is the world's first heat conductive thin-set additive. So as part of this system, you always have to use thin-set, obviously, to adhere your tile down. And thin-set has a certain level of conductivity in allowing heat to transfer through it. And this really takes that to the next level. So this has patent-pending thermal diffusion technology, and what that means is that this is going to do a couple things. This is going to make sure that there are no cold spots between your wires on the surface of the floor. So where if you're on your floor and you've got the system on, based on where the wires are, you're going to have hot and cold spaces on your floor with other systems. With ours, with this thin-set additive, it actually eliminates those cold spaces between the wires. So that really increases the comfort of your overall space. And also, it reduces your energy costs. So this really promotes the diffusion of the heat from the wire through the thin set to the floor covering. And that's going to make sure that it heats up quicker. So remember we talked about one of the knocks on the system is response time. This is going to help on that response time. It heats up much quicker than not using this thermal pack. So it can reduce your energy costs by 15% because it's heating up much quicker. And it really pays for itself in only 2 or 3 months. So if you do add this technology to the job as it's being installed, it's a very small charge to have this included in the thin set, and again, it pays itself back in only a couple of months. So it's kind of a no-brainer to add this in to improve the performance of the system, and really gets you payback, and you start saving on energy costs after the second month. So this is another thing that we're pretty proud of in the system as one of our unique and patented components. So that's the system in a nutshell. Those are the 4 components that we have. As we do with everything here at Laticrete, we put all of our products through the toughest testing in the lab, in third parties, everywhere. And I'm not going to go through the specific details here, but we have done a lot of testing on this system on the strength of it, point load, shear strength, and Robinson floor testing as well. And this system withstands and exceeds all of the standards that we need for all of the applications, ensuring that we are able to give this system the lifetime warranty that does come with it. So this system is backed by a lifetime warranty, and that's because of how confident that we are in all of its performance and in all the results that have come out of the testing. And we don't just do lab testing, obviously. We do a lot of field testing. So before we launched this product, we made sure that we weren't just relying on lab testing, but we went out and got some real data from real installers and users of these products. So we conducted field trials prior to the launch and focused on wire and mat installation with installers, and what we wanted to do is compare to the competition. So we worked with 18 different installations, and we had the installers who were currently using a different product try our product, and they ranked our product across all the different parameters, including how easy it was overall to install, turning corners with the wire, how easy that was, how was it tough to kneel on the material, was it tough on the knees, did the mat hold the wire well, thickness, holding the thin set, all these things that are very important to the installer when putting the system in are really the difference makers in them liking or not liking the system. We ranked our system versus everyone else's, and we ranked better across the board. The lower score is better, and on the far right-hand column you'll see the Strata Heat mat versus the competitors, and we ranked better across the board. So when you take the lab testing results that were so great, you take the field trial results, which are so great, we were really confident that we had a fantastic system, and we absolutely do. And we continue to get a lot of great feedback on it. Okay, now talking a little bit about the support that has been developed for this program. We obviously have all of the selling and buying support needed from a collateral standpoint with brochures and sell sheets and data sheets, safety data sheets, all these things that you expect to see from a system like this. And I certainly encourage you downloading or getting your hands on some of the stuff. You can find it all on our website, Laticrete.com, in the Strata Heat section. And this information that is in here is invaluable to give you a more idea about the operation of the system and the features and benefits of the components I've covered here today. We have promotional support, buy-in promotions, rebates, and things like that that I'll cover in a little bit more detail towards the end in a few slides from now, and a lot of technical support. So, technical support it comes from a lot of different areas. It comes from online support live from our technical support group, videos and stuff like that. We have plenty of technical guides and collateral that will help you understand the specifics and the detail around installing it, troubleshooting. What happens if there is a problem during the installation and it has to be fixed. We have we have repair guides. So if something gets damaged after installation, how to go about repairing it. So there are a lot of documents and a lot of information that you can read through to help guide installation and maintenance of the system. But one of the things that we're really proud of is our our online support. So we have Laticrete University, and there are a bunch of modules on there that cover the system features and benefits, thermal packs, how and when to use them, and the installation guidelines and stuff like that. So you'll find that on Laticrete University online. And we're obviously represented across all the different social media platforms as well as YouTube, where you'll find a lot of information there as well. We are very active on Facebook. We have some private closed groups that installers can become part of, and we're members of other general, more open tile groups. And we have constant feedback on a daily basis on the system that myself product managers, technical services, sales, we all see this feedback. It's real time. It happens every day. There's people that, they're talking about how awesome their install went, how much they love the product. Occasionally there's a troubleshooting question or something like that, but we are constantly on social media, on these Facebook pages, and engaging the market and the users to get that real-time feedback and to be able to answer those questions real-time, to help people with their installations and gather feedback on what they thought about them. So attached in this slide are just some images of some actual feedback that were received over a few-week period that I wanted to capture and put in here, but these are actual installations that happened. People who bought the product. These are not field trials. These are people that are buying the product at a distribution, going and doing their installs, and then posting about it on social media. So you find a lot of this kind of content on Facebook, and it's really valuable. And I've got to close with talking about our promotion that we have this year for purchases of the Strata Heat system. So it's still in place through the end of this year. It started when the product launched at the beginning of this year, and it goes all year, and it's a 10% rebate, pretty simple, on all purchases of Strata Heat mat, spacing strips, wire, thermal packs, and thermostats for the entire year. So you make a purchase of this product, fill out the slip, submit it to us, and you get 10% back. Which is decent. We estimate that the amount of material that you need to do a typical 8x10 bathroom, for instance, is in the neighborhood of $500 of cost. So if you're buying that product and you want to get some money back, you can get an easy $50 back for a project like that. So the 10% rebate has been received pretty well for us. And it continues through the end of the year. So I encourage anybody who is interested in buying this or trying it out is going out and getting some and taking advantage of that rebate between now and the end of the year. So with that, I've covered the Strata Heat system. Again, it's the highest performing, highest quality, most innovative, unique system in the marketplace today, and we're really, really proud of it. We hope you get a chance to experience it and enjoy it as much as we enjoy being able to promote it and talk about it. So that's it for me today. I don't know if there are any questions. If there are, I can address them now.
Okay, so if you do have any questions for Spencer, make sure you type them into that Q&A panel that you have. I do have one ready for you now, Spencer.
Okay.
Strata Heat system rated for showers. Okay,
that's a pretty common question that we get. The system is rated for showers, so it's UL approved for showers. The system, with one caveat, it does have to be used on only horizontal surfaces. So that's important to note. Some people want to get crazy and put heating systems behind the tile on their walls in a shower. It's not UL approved for that. It's only for horizontal systems. So if you want to have nice warm feet in the shower, you can get it with this system in your floor. Another thing is that, again, it's not rated for vertical. So if you have a curb in your shower and you have to route that wire from the shower outside, you can't go up over the curb. You've got to go through it, under it, or somehow otherwise, any way that prevents you from having to do a vertical move in your shower. So it is rated for showers, but only for horizontal surfaces.
Okay. What about for exterior use? Can you use it there, outside?
No, the system is only rated for interior use. So no systems out there are rated for exterior use, and ours kind of follows that in that it has to be a weather-controlled environment for the system to be installed and used, and so that makes it so that it has to be an interior application only.
Will the ThermoPack work with competitors' thin sets?
Okay, that's another very common question as well. I'm not going to say that it won't work with competitors' thin sets. I will say that we have only tested it and can verify and validate its performance in our thin sets. So you can use it with the Laticrete thin sets and it will perform to the standards that I outlined before as far as the efficiency and the payback are concerned. It has not been tested with competitors. I won't say that it will not work, but we certainly can't stand behind it. And if a competitor's thin set was to be used in the job with the product, it would certainly negate the system lifetime warranty. So definitely encourage everyone to use our thin set in the installation because you'll get that lifetime warranty, obviously, and you are guaranteed that the performance is going to be what we say it is. And I'll also add, when you look at all of the radiant floor heating brands and providers out there, there's only one other competitor who even has thin set in their range. We are certainly the only competitor that has the only brand that has the broadest range of setting and tiling materials that we have. So from anywhere, from the substrate out to the finished tile, we've got everything. So we've got obviously the thin set, which not many other brands have in the radiant floor heating space. We have the mat and the wire, the ThermoPack additive. We've got the thin set, the thermostat, and we even have the grout for the tiles. So we really cover the full system from the substrate to the floor, and it's covered with a lifetime warranty. So we definitely encourage people to use our products in the installation.
Excellent. I am not seeing any other questions coming through at this time. Spencer, is there anything else that you would like to add about Laticrete or the Strata Heat product?
No, I think I really appreciate everybody's time listening to about our product today. I always love talking about it. There's so many unique things about it, and stuff that makes the homeowner's life easier after installation as far as operating it, makes the installer's life easier when they're putting the system down. And Laticrete is very proud of the system, so we look forward to the feedback. Thank you very much.
Well, on behalf of FCICA, thank you, Spencer, for presenting today's webinar sponsored by Laticrete. The webinar's recording and handouts will be available on FCICA's Member Center, as well as on this education platform. Certified installation managers, remember that you do receive your CEUs. Once you finish the webinar, you might be asked to complete that feedback survey, and we always appreciate feedback. If you are looking for other continuing education opportunities, you can view upcoming webinars and access on-demand webinars on this platform by clicking on Courses in the top navigation of your profile, and visit our training resources page on the FCICA website for other offerings. If you are interested in sponsoring an FCICA product or educational webinar, you can contact me by email at elizabeth@fcica.com or by calling FCICA at 248-661-5015. If you have any additional questions for Spencer, you can go ahead and email them to me. I believe he had his email. Nope. We don't have his email on the main page here, but again, you can email them to me or you can reach out to Spencer via Laticrete, and I'm sure he will be glad to answer any questions that you have. Okay? Thank you so much for joining us, and have a great rest of your afternoon.